Hello my lovely crafters, this is Crafty Sue 519. Welcome to my channel, and this is Tea Tuesday. So, I've had trouble thinking of stories I could tell you. So today I thought I would take you on another vacation with me. So, let me think now. How old am I? About 17 years ago now, Grumpy and I took a Mexican Riviera cruise. And what that entailed was we were living in California at the time. We drove from home, which was Antioch, California, and we drove down to Long Beach, where the boats would take off. I don't know why my computer just did that. Anyhow, let's get into the tea first, because I'm freezing here in Florida this morning. This is called Asian Pear Harmony. If this is anything to do with real Asian pears, I love them. Love them. Hard to find here, but I have found them a couple of times. Love them. So let's see if this tastes like an Asian pear, which should be very, very mild because there is not a lot of taste to Asian pears. I love the crunch. The crunch, the crunch. Ugh. I'm using my new butterfly cup for the first time. I can't show it to you because I will spill my tea. Well, you can see a little bit, but I had showed it to you when I had gotten it for Christmas. Anyhow, we drove down to Long Beach, got on our ship, got in our room. Nice room. We always got rooms with a balcony so we could sit outdoors and enjoy the breeze as the ship was cruising along. Haha, cruising. And off we went to Mexico. So, our first stop was in Puerto Vallarta. And that's a really old city. And I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed it because it had so many churches. Oh my gosh, they had these old, beautiful churches. And I don't know how many of them we went into to look at, but quite a few. Even crashed a wedding. Didn't mean to, but we did. And walked around the city, cobblestone streets, and just a beautiful old city. Beautiful churches, loved it. And part of our little stay in Puerto Vallarta was a trip out to a Tequila Factory. Now, if anybody knows me, I love tequila. I love tequila. I love margaritas. I don't care what flavor it is. Love it. So that was my thing. And we got there and they gave us a little tour of the place. And it was just a small little thing. It was not anything huge. And they had these big agave plants with the tops chopped off, and you just had that big bottom ball that they made the tequila out of. And they gave you an opportunity to taste it. And Grumpy didn't, but I'm not like that. I'll try anything. I might spit it out, but I'll try it. So they gave me a piece of that agave, and it was like chewing on wood. Ooh. Not the greatest thing to chew on. Don't chew on agave. Anyhow, then we went into this room and they talked about all the different flavors of tequila they made. Chocolate and vanilla and, oh, I can't even think now how many different flavors of tequila they made. And of course they gave us all shots of the samples, and by the time you left that, you were pretty happy. And of course we bought like 5 bottles of tequila. All different flavors. I still have them 17 years later. And then they had like a little area outside where you could purchase things. And I did. As a matter of fact, I didn't think of that until just now. Hold on one second. It was like a little craft area, and they had little booths where you could buy souvenirs or whatever. And one of them was, take this out of the way. One of them was a person who painted tiles, just plain old tile, and they painted them. And it was just so pretty. Look at how pretty this is with the lighthouse. I hope you can see it well. Isn't that pretty? And I just thought they were the prettiest things. And it was so inexpensive. Look how pretty that is. Kind of reminds me of street paintings in San Francisco that the guys do with cans of spray paint. If you've, oh, that's incredible to watch these people create these works of art. But I just thought these were so pretty, and they probably remind me of San Francisco, so I bought them. They weren't expensive at all. They weren't expensive at all. And then they gave us lunch. And it was, I don't remember exactly what it was. I remember there was rice and beans. I don't remember, chicken, I think. And I don't remember what else we had with lunch. And oh, it was really, really nice. What a beautiful time we had in Puerto Vallarta. I really enjoyed that. And back to the ship it was, and off to our next stay, which was Mazatlan. Now in Mazatlan, we had booked one of the entertainment, you know, on cruises you can book tours or sights to see or entertainment and in the city that you're stopped at. I'm tasting my tea. Yep, very, very mild. Good. I don't know if it tastes like Asian pear. Can't tell. You hear me smacking my lips. Anyhow, we get to Mazatlan. Oh my Lanta. Has to be the hottest place I've ever been. And I've been to Mexico a few times. And this was horrendous. And the first place they took you to was like a downtown area. But I'm sure it was just a tourist trap with tons of stores that you could buy. You could buy prescriptions, you could buy, you name it. They had stores for everything. Cuban cigars, all that illegal stuff. I was amazed. And I'm trying to walk around with grumpy, and with each step, I was just dying. It was so hot and humid. I could barely breathe. I'm not joking. I had trouble breathing. Oh, it was horrible. And then we had that show we were supposed to go see, and I found out that it was outside. And I said, no way in heck, I am sitting out in this sun, not being able to breathe because the humidity was so incredibly high. It was almost impossible to take a breath. I don't know how people live in that kind of environment. I mean, people complain about Florida. I complain about Florida, and I live here. It's nothing like Mazatlan was. That was the worst I have ever felt. So at one point, just to get a breath of fresh air, I went into a jewelry store. And they were selling all kinds of stuff. And of course, everybody is as sweet as can be because they want to sell you stuff. And Oh, if I took, it was just a tiny little store. But if I took my time, I could breathe for a little bit because it was cool in there. So, of course, to stay as long as I can, oops, and I just lost what I was going to show you. I bought this opal pendant. It's beautiful. I love it. It's got a lot of fire in it, which opal should have. $450. $450 for this. Oh my gosh. Was it worth $450 for 15 minutes of cool air to breathe? Heck yeah. I'd do it all over again. Well, maybe not now. I'm retired and I don't make a lot of money like I used to back then. But, oh, it was awful. I came out of the store with my nice little box with my new little pendant, and Grumpy loved it, thought it was beautiful, and he still loves it. And I said, I'm going back to the ship. He said, what do you mean? We got a show to go to. I said, nope, I'm going back to the ship. It is too darn hot. I can't breathe. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I'm getting a cab. I'm going back to the ship. You can stay and watch the show if you want. Meet me at the ship. But he didn't. He came with me. And I can't even believe I'm going to show you this because it's so awful. But I got back to the ship and went to our cabin and went and sat out on the balcony for a little bit. And I just looked at him and went, this is how I feel. Oh gosh. Ah, I can't believe I'm showing you this picture. But it was hot. It was horrible. Horrible, horrible. So Mazatlan, nope. Not ever going back there again. Never, never. So we finally got going on the cruise again, and we were heading back up towards the States, and our next stop was Cabo San Lucas. Now, Grumpy had always told me that Cabo was his absolute favorite place. He loved Cabo San Lucas. So we stopped there, and the boat couldn't get close enough to shore for us to just walk out onto land. So you had to get into this little boat. He would know what the name of it is. I don't remember. And that took you to shore, and you got off of that boat, and we walked around town a little bit, and we had booked a boat ride along the coast. So we got on this boat, and it was a party. I'll tell you, it was a party. The tequila was flowing, the drinks were flowing. They had nachos and all kinds of snacks for you to have as they took you around to see all the sights from the boat. And it was nice. It was really nice. I had a really good time with that. And it was just a big party boat, and enjoyed that a real lot. When we got back to shore, we walked around, and there was a Hard Rock cafe in town. So we were hungry, so we went to Hard Rock to have something to eat. So we ate at Hard Rock and walked around a bit, and it was time to go back to the ship. And Cabo's very nice. It is a beautiful place. And I'll tell you, I have never had a bad experience with Mexican people, whether or not it was in Mexico or in the U.S. where I lived. Such nice, wonderful people. My gardener was Mexican. My house cleaners were Mexican women. So nice. Did such good work. My gardener, every time he came, he rang the doorbell to say hello. And just super, super nice people. Even the man we hired to put in our sprinkler system and our grass and patio. He was so funny. And he was Mexican too. And awesome, awesome, awesome experience with Mexican people. Maybe that's why I like Mexico so much. I never ran into an issue. I know there's lots of issues there, but I was very lucky. I never ever did. Just nice, nice people. So now we're leaving Cabo. And we go and have dinner that night. And I come back to my room. And the next day is going to be the last day of the cruise. We're going to get back to Long Beach. And I start in the middle of the night getting sick. And I mean, oh my gosh. I don't know where everything that was coming out of this body came from. I'll tell you, it was horrible. It was horrible. The next morning, Grumpy actually had to call for a doctor, and doctor came to my cabin, and I was getting dehydrated, and she said that I had norovirus. Oh. And that is the virus you get if something is unclean or I'm not exactly sure what gives it to you, but it's common on cruises, and lucky me, I got it. Oh my gosh, it was awful. So she quarantined me because it's contagious, and I spent the whole last day of our cruise in my cabin watching something on TV about Picasso. I know more about Picasso than I've ever wanted to know, believe me. And running back and forth to the bathroom and taking 20 Imodium to try to stop everything. It was terrible. And she sent up the worst food, boiled chicken and boiled potato with nothing on it. It was, oh gosh, it was awful. And the next morning, when we woke up, we would be docked and have to leave the ship. And I was terrified of leaving the ship. Oh no, what if something happened? I didn't want to leave the bathroom. But by the next morning, I was feeling better. And we could leave the trip. And I'll never forget walking to the area where you got your luggage and looking back at the ship and seeing where my room was, and there were these two men there in hazmat suits, head to toe, spraying everything. Gosh, I felt like a giant germ. But the good thing was, it wasn't the only one being sprayed. So I don't know where I caught the virus. We think it might have been that we made the mistake when we were at Hard Rock to get ice in our Diet Cokes. That might have been it. Or it could have been me just touching something on the ship that somebody who had the virus had touched, and I picked it up from there. I don't know. Don't drink the water in Mexico. Don't drink the water unless it's bottled. So off we came, and now we have to drive all the way back up to Antioch, which is above San Francisco. And we had reservations to go to Disneyland because I had never been to Disneyland. I had lived in California for, about 7 years at that point, and I hadn't been to Disneyland. Been to Disney World twice, but I had never been to Disneyland. So we had to cancel that trip because I just wasn't up to it. I was so weak from that norovirus. And we drove home, and I was fine all the way home. Longest ride in the world, it seemed. And that was it. That was our trip. Started off wonderfully. In the middle of it was horrendous with that heat. Loved Cabo. May have gotten norovirus in Cabo. Not sure, but may have. Could have been the party ship with the stuff they were giving us to drink. I don't know. Got it from somewhere. And thank goodness the last day of the trip was nothing but sailing. Just the ship going back. There was nothing scheduled for that day. So I really didn't miss out on anything. Grumpy bounced around the boat all day, and I just stayed in my room and tried to get over this and try to figure out where the heck all that stuff came from, because I don't know. I think I was losing my brains. It was terrible. It was so horrible. I haven't been on another cruise since because I am terrified of getting that infection again. I don't ever want to go and get that norovirus again. I did talk to one of my doctors that I was working for at the time, and he's Indian, and he says every time he goes to India, he takes antibiotics before he goes, because you can end up with the same issues traveling there. And you know, you take your chances when you go to a different country. Your body's not used to everything. So he says, if you go on another cruise, I'll give you antibiotics to take before you go, and that should help you, prevent you from getting that virus again. So I said, okay, but I've never been back. We've talked about it, but never been back. My dream is a Mediterranean cruise. Grumpy's is a Panama Canal cruise. I don't know. Will we ever do those? I don't know. We'll see. So that's my story for you today. Still love Mexico. Will always love Mexico. And hope you enjoyed my little story. And until next Tea Tuesday, love yous. Bye.